In this very small picture, I would like to explain. Wayfarers who long for the path of Haqq should know the wayfarer. They should know their path in order not to go astray. That is the first duty of the salik, of the person on the path, knowing the path. One should know this. Why? So that he or she wouldn't go astray. Which path is this? What are the requirements of this road when you're on a journey? You wonder the weather conditions, so that's what you should be curious about. So the old people actually talks about this slippery ground, so one should know whether the ground is slippery or not. So that's what a dervish should ask first. Which path is this, and what are the requirements of this path? The second verse. 4 stations on the path of Haqq, as well as 4 veils. For the wayfarer, know that one should get rid of all these veils. So it's the issue of veil. Now in Tasawwuf we have the human being and we have the reality. The truth should be seen. That's the most important thing. And as well lived, understood and lived. So let's say to be the truth. So in these 2 issues there's also something in between. There is a veil. There is a set of veils in between the human and the reality. And these veils actually block us from facing reality. That's why it's a very important issue in Tasawwuf. Ghazali, about these veils, when he lists, the first one is ignorance. So that's a veil. But after this, knowledge is also a veil. So knowledge could very easily be a veil. So if you look at those contemporary sciences, you would understand what I'm saying. So on this path there are 4 maqams, 4 stations and 4 veils. One should actually repel these ones. One should melt these veils. These thick and black veils should actually be gotten rid of so that you can face the truth and be in love with the truth. The third verse. With no ablution, is it possible to perform prayer? So giving an example. So one should actually have ablution in order to do namaz. When veils not unveiled, know that your wish cannot come into being. So the issue is actually to unveil these veils. Just like namaz requires ablution, the salik, the wayfarer, has to get rid of these thick and dark curtains. So that's menzili maksud, the destination should be reached. Beautiful must be your words, deeds, and disposition. So these are the maqams, the stations. They have to be beautiful. That's the first. Taqwa, piety. Our words should be beautiful, should be clean. The words we use should be beautiful. We shouldn't be using every word that comes to our mind. We shouldn't be saying every sentence that comes to our minds. Our words shouldn't be hurting people. They have to be beautiful. Not enough. Our deeds should also be, our acts should also be beautiful. Our attitudes, our behavior, they all should be beautiful. Just like the one whose language, whose tongue and hand everyone is sure of. So that's what we should be trying to aim at. So by writing, actually in handwriting, and we may hurt people, so that shouldn't be the case. Hulk, ahlak, the beautiful conduct. That should be beautiful. Know that you are non-existence before the presence of Huda. So one should be existing but non-existing. So you have to know yourself as nothing, as a nothingness before Allah. So you would actually do the greatest things in this world, but you shouldn't be around. So just like the worm making the silk, but you would do this, but people wouldn't know you, wouldn't recognize, shouldn't know you. So these are the main stages of these 4 stations. And to be a human, one should know that these should be taught. Tahsil. So these are the compulsory courses. So you can't actually deal with the selective courses and put aside the compulsory ones. So that's what we need to actually be trained, be educated. That's what we need to seek. Veils. Ambition of property, status, and imitation. Know that these are things to be repelled. So what are these veils? A few of them have been listed. So there are so many actually. Ghazali also lists some. The ambition for owning possession, property, and status. We talked about this slippery ground. So we should actually be aware of the facts where our feet are on the slippery ground. So it's either the ambition for property or for status, for position. Greed. So years ago I've heard this saying from Uludağ Hoca. The last love that actually goes out of a dervish's heart is actually the love for status, for position. So these actually make up those dark, thick veils and obstruct facing the truth. So they should all be gotten rid of. They should all be unveiled. In speaking, sleeping, eating, be moderate. Know that these are the remedy of all. So we have another set of 3 issues. As you know, in a tekke, the dervish's first course is this. Sleep little, talk a little, and eat a little. That's the ABC of a course. In speech and in sleeping and in eating, have moderacy. So be moderate. So it doesn't mean have the 0 level. It doesn't mean that you would not eat, sleep at all, but it should be moderate. So we can call it a little. Eat a little, sleep a little, talk a little. The one who talks a lot is mistaken a lot. So I've also learned very recently one more thing. This threesome, in this formula, it's actually, the main thing is actually eating little. When you eat little, it automatically actually reveals eating, sleeping less, and speaking less. Lovers find God, the truth, hidden in their nefs. Who can find? It's actually hidden in the lovers. So it's not out in the market. It's not out in luxury, in showing off. There is nothing to do with these things. Know that it's in vain to ask anything other than such union. So where can the lovers find this ashk? It's only within the lover. So it's not out of them, it's within them. So it's actually vain and useless to look for these outside of yourself. Tashra, the outer part. When I was looking in the outer world, it was actually within the spirit of the spirit. Training, another subject now. Training on your own, studying on your own, doesn't make you attain. Know that without a perfect murshid, truth cannot be attained. Everyone can actually walk on a different path, but it's a must to actually have a spiritual guide, a murshid. What does to attain or to be one with murshid means? Let's put it simply. It actually means to make use of human experience. And that's the most precious thing in this world. This experience is the most precious. And murshid actually gives this offer.
Hiçbir karşılık beklemeden bu dünyanın en değerli
Expecting nothing without. So that's what the murshid is. Offering to everyone with no expectation in return. These words I witnessed on the leaf of the truth should be listened with the soul for a human being to be. It's the expression with the ear, listen it with your ears, but it's not only ears, it's with the soul, with the spirit of your ear. So when we say gönül, the illuminated heart, it's actually within the spirit in your illuminated heart. So we have these expressions to listen with your ears spirit. So it is the sight with the spirit. So that's what actually is required to attain what we are seeking. Another subject on Tasawwuf is the relationship with the murshid, the relationship of the murshid with the Quran. Know that in the city of Tariqa, the only guide is the Quran. So we're using the word city here because we have the city of the path, the Tariqa. So as we have the guides in a city, the guide of such a city is actually the Quran. That's the source. We all know it. So there is no need to search it in other ways, go astray. So you wouldn't actually regret if you don't go astray. It is impossible to find the essence of the walnut shell if you don't know your ignorance and poverty. So let's have a look at this walnut issue. As you know, walnut has got 4 layers. We have the outer shell, which is bitter. And when it's green, it's extremely bitter. And then we have the hard one. And we have this membrane on the walnuts inside, and then we have the core, we have the essence of it inside. So those 4 layers of Tasawwuf is actually used as an example to talk about Sharia, Tariqa, Marifa, and Hakika. So we have the outer shell, And we have that's the first level. The second level is actually the hard one, and then the membrane. So they're all in order. So this path has got stages to follow. First we start with the bitter one on the out of the outer shell, and then this bitterness becomes sweet. Have you ever eaten walnut jam? I don't know, but I've recently tasted it. Very recently. I'd never thought about having a jam from walnut, because the very exterior layer has got a very bitter taste, I know, when it's green. And I wouldn't believe actually when people had told me that it would be so sweet. So human beings can actually make such bitterness into sweet. So the masters actually make the bitterness inside sweet. And the last verse, and I think we are within the 20 minutes. In the tariqa, in the path, O Kenan, don't think that there is anything outside of Sharia. Hazreti Kenan is actually addressing himself. They are actually referring to their own nefs, not to others, but the others actually get the providence as much as they can. Actually, the murshids are trying, it's their own issue as well. So they're trying to reach their own perfected state for us. Don't think that tariqa is out of Sharia, out of Islamic law. You would actually hear people saying this. Don't believe them. One should know the fact that if there is such a claim, these are zindiqs, these are unbelievers, there is no doubt. I would like to convey my greetings to you and my regards.
We would also like to thank to Mr. Mustafa Kara, and just like we have said at the beginning, Tasawwuf is about good manners and morals, and Muhammad Konevi says, if a person has morals further than yours, then he is also further in religion and tasawwuf than you. So let us be let us have the morals of God, and these are the people who are called as mukarrebun, karib, the ones who are closer to God. And this is, if your morals are not progressed, are not further, then you cannot say that you are further in your religion. Junaid Baghdadi is said to say, the great murshids, great Sufis, the Awliyaullah, don't measure them with your own measure. Measure yourself with their measure. Because if you measure them with your measure, then you can understand how you are bankrupt and how mature and learned they are. So this is a matter of measuring ourselves with their measure. In this poem, as is mentioned time after time, it's all about morals, morals, and morals. Good manners and training the nefs, taming the nefs, and the beautiful manners, the good manners. The worst thing is to lose them, to lack good manners. So tasawwuf is a choice between these two. So the more you go towards one, you get away from the other. So you get the closeness and the consent of God as much as you do that. So this is what all the prophets suggest us: morals, manners, method, and good deeds and ethics. So now I would like to thank both of our speakers, and I wish that all these sessions will be beneficial and useful, and I now close this session. Thank you so much. I would like you to please ask you to deliver the commemoration plaques to our presenters.
Değerli konuklar, 20 dakika.
Esteemed guests, now we shall have a 20 minutes coffee break, which I will please ask you to honor.